Scientists studied her DNA for answers. The cubs simply followed their queen. The Galactic Council had never encountered anything quite like humanity. For 3 centuries, the various species of the known universe had coexisted under strict biological hierarchies. The Kryn with their crystalline intelligence, the Vosh with their telepathic networks, the Jaren with their 4-dimensional perception. Each species had carved out their niche in the cosmic order based on measurable, quantifiable traits. Then came the humans. Dr. Vexlar, chief xenobiologist of the Council, stared at the holographic display showing Dr. Sarah Chen's DNA sequence for the 100th time. The human woman sat calmly in the adjacent observation chamber, reading something on her personal device, utterly unconcerned with the battery of tests she'd undergone over the past week. "There must be something we're missing," Vexlar muttered, his tentacles writhing in frustration. "Some hidden genetic marker, some dormant ability." "How else do you explain it?" His assistant, a young Kryn named Thelza, pulsed a soft blue, the color of confusion. "The human genome shows nothing exceptional, Doctor. Average bone density, standard neural pathway configuration, completely ordinary mitochondrial function. By all measurable standards, they should be unremarkable." Yet, unremarkable was the last word anyone would use to describe what had happened on Kepler 442b. The colony there had been established by the Vosh, a peaceful mining operation extracting rare minerals from the planet's crust. When the Ravagers attacked, a nomadic species known for their brutality, the Vosh's telepathic networks had been shattered by neural disruptors. 3,000 colonists, cut off from their collective consciousness, had descended into panic. The human contingent numbered only 47. Sarah Chen had been their administrator, a simple logistics coordinator with no military training. Yet when the Ravagers breached the colony's outer defenses, something had shifted. The security footage showed her standing before the terrified crowd of various species, Vosh, Kryn, Jaren, even a few Torvan younglings. "Follow me," she had said. Just 2 words, and they had, for 72 hours. Sarah had led a mixed group of 200 survivors through the colony's maintenance tunnels, outmaneuvering Ravager search parties, organizing supply runs, coordinating makeshift defenses. She had no telepathy to coordinate minds, no enhanced strength to fight, no advanced perception to predict enemy movements. She simply led. And they followed. Vexlar had watched the footage dozens of times. The moment that haunted him most was when a group of Torvan cubs, barely 3 cycles old, had been separated from their parents. Torvans were logical beings, their youth raised communally with strict protocols. Yet when Sarah had knelt before them, speaking in her soft human voice, they had quieted. When she stood and walked, they followed, their small clawed hands grasping at her jacket. The Council scientists had termed it the Chen effect, though they understood nothing about it. "Run the analysis again," Vexlar ordered. "Pheromone production, vocal frequency modulation, even quantum-level biofield emissions. There has to be a scientific explanation." Thelza's glow dimmed, skepticism. "Doctor, we've run every test known to Council science. Dr. Chen produces no unusual pheromones. Her voice operates within normal human parameters. Her biofield is utterly mundane. Perhaps what? Perhaps the answer isn't in her biology." Vexlar's tentacles stiffened. The thought was almost heretical. The Council's entire structure was built on biological determinism, the belief that capability flowed from measurable physical traits. A chime interrupted his thoughts. Sarah Chen had requested to speak with him. She entered his laboratory with that peculiar human gait, inefficient, bipedal, evolutionary, questionable. Yet she moved with a confidence that made the advanced species around her unconsciously step aside. "Dr. Vexlar," she said, offering that odd human gesture of baring teeth. A smile, they called it. "I hear you've been studying my DNA." "We're trying to understand," he admitted. "What you did on Kepler 442b defies our models. Those Torvan cubs, they're raised from birth to follow logical protocols, to trust only their designated guardians. Yet they followed you into situations their instincts should have screamed against." Sarah's smile softened. "May I see them?" Vexlar was confused but arranged for a viewing. The Torvan cubs, now safely returned to their families, were in a nearby council creche. When Sarah entered, their reaction was immediate. Chittering in excitement, they bounded toward her, climbing onto her lap, nuzzling against her. How? Vexlar demanded. What is it that makes them trust you? Sarah stroked the cub's crystalline fur thoughtfully. You're looking in the wrong place, Doctor. It's not in my DNA, it's in my actions. On Kepler 442b, I didn't ask those people to analyze whether following me was logical. I didn't prove I was the strongest or the smartest. I simply showed them in every moment that I would fight for their survival as hard as I'd fight for my own. But that's not quantifiable, Thelza objected. How can we measure such a thing? You can't, Sarah replied. Humans have a word for it, leadership. It's not about what you are. It's about what you do consistently, especially when it's hard. These cubs don't follow me because of my genetics. They follow because when they were terrified and lost, I stayed calm. When they were hungry, I shared my rations first. When danger came, I put myself between them and it. She looked directly at Vexlar. We humans aren't stronger or smarter than most species in this galaxy. We don't have telepathy or crystalline minds. What we have is something you can't see under a microscope. The stubborn refusal to abandon those who trust us, even when every logical calculation says we should. Vexlar felt something shift in his understanding. For 3 centuries, the Council had believed that hierarchy flowed from biology. But here was a human, ordinary in every measurable way, whom beings across multiple species would follow into darkness. The cubs curled in Sarah's lap, purring contentedly. They didn't need scientific explanations. They knew what Vexlar was only beginning to understand. Some of the most powerful forces in the universe couldn't be sequenced or measured. They could only be witnessed and followed.